Okay, and we're back with Vintage King Cameron Silver on the last segment. We are going to talk about your views on the fashion in Asia, because you are a very well-traveled persona. So I'm sure you've picked up a lot of things that you see randomly all the time, everywhere you go. Every blink of an eye, you see is fashion, 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 fashion. I'm pretty sure. So in the Asian continent, what would you say your favorite place to be in?
Well, certainly Hong Kong, I think, is the fashion capital. Singapore has a strong fashion week. My friend Zheng Toy is from Malaysia. So while I'm here, I'll be seeing a lot of the local designers and wearing a lot of the local designers, like Andy Sulaiman, who made this. Malaysian is really hard, by the way.
Yeah, it's Sulaiman, actually.
Sulaiman.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Andy, I said your name wrong. We have to come up with my Malaysian name too by the end of this interview. But I think this is such an important region. So much production is coming out of here. There's tremendous amount of wealth. So you have the high fashion that can emerge. You have the fast fashion that's all produced here. I think there are some very interesting designers I saw in mainland China that I loved. But I'm interested in the real avant-garde designers who are using the traditions, the historic traditions, in a modern way.
So, what would you say of your favorite, fashion icon in terms of, being in Asian city? Because we have batik in Malaysia.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, when I was looking at some of the local designers, I mean, you can see how the West is so influenced. You look at Dries Van Noten, Haider Ackermann, and de Meulemeester. They all sort of borrow a lot of the local traditions that we see in Malaysia. So I'm excited to see more designers emerge out of this area and have an international presence. There's absolutely no reason why there can't be some really strong international luxury business.
So, there are certain issues in Malaysia where we want to exude the fashion ethnicity of our country, but with our country going towards globalization with the influence of the Western culture, so it's not quite likely translating into what we can call an identity for our nation. So having to be from the other part of the world looking outside to Asia. So would you say that what we are trying to do here is actually moving towards portraying that identity of the nation, or do you think it's otherwise?
Well, I think it's very important to embrace what is part of the ethnic cultural fabric of this country, and I think sometimes we're very, not so much negative, but we don't appreciate what we've given to the world. So I think for young Malaysian designers, really embrace the beauty of your traditions and realize that the outside world loves them, and that you can create a global business based on something that's regional and make it modern. It's the same thing with vintage. Vintage that looks modern, I want batik that looks modern. I'm going to wear a lot more local fashion this week. So I think it looks totally modern.
Yeah.
I don't think I look like I'm in a costume.
You put on a jacket and you're ready
chic.
to go.
It's very chic.
Okay, so talk to us about your favorite era in terms of fashion, and why?
I think my favorite decade would probably be the 1970s, and purely from a patriotic American way, it was the birth of American fashion globally. It was the first time American designers were on par with the French couturiers. And I like the carefree, minimal sexiness of that sort of disco Studio 54 vibe. If we think of Halston and Bill Blass and Oscar de la Renta and Stephen Burrows, it's very free. It's also incredibly relevant still today.
Yeah.
So you'll see we have some dresses in the fashion show that are 1970s Halston. You'll think they were made yesterday. So I'm a product of the 70s. So I think I have a bit of a visceral connection to it. But I love the 70s.
So your collection majorly be in that era?
Well, no. I mean, the store has everything from 1900 to 2010, but I'm particularly drawn to the 70s.
Do you have regulars that's going for only that one particular era look?
Well, I think the 70s are always popular with clients. I mean, you can't go wrong with a beautiful one-shoulder goddess dress. It will always look in style.
So what would you say be your tips for people who would want to achieve that vintage look?
I have these very simple rules. When you look at a vintage garment, ask yourself, does this look modern? Because you really don't want to wear something that looks like it's really old. Don't get seduced by a label. I mean, even if you find something like, oh my God, that's Hermes. Hermes made some ugly things, not that much ugly things. And if you're so lucky to find an Hermes Birkin at this store, send it to Decades. Condition is paramount. It can be very expensive to restore a garment. And this is the universal desires. Everybody wants to look sexy. I mean, sexy is in the eyes of the beholder. So you can look sexy and dress conservatively. But I think that when I say sexy, it's a confidence. So is the garment modern? Is the condition good? Is it sexy? And I don't like basic or boring. So for vintage, that's where you get outside your comfort zone. Be a little eccentric. You can be boring when you're dead.
All right, so no all blacks for you.
No all black. I like color. Come on, we're in a country of batik, so put some color on.
And I hope you have some sizes for me to try on.
You're so easy. You're like a supermodel. You're the Kate Moss of Malaysia.
Thank you. And on air from Cameron Silvers, and he just shared the lowdown on vintage haute couture, and you'll be showcasing your vintage haute couture pieces on Thursday at the Petronas Malaysia Formula 1 GP Gala 2015 in aid of Bidara Kedah, and Astro Awani is the official broadcaster partner for this, and it's always an exciting week. Every time it's F1 fever, it's always an exciting week, and that's why Cameron is here. So till next time, thanks again, Cameron.
That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. So keep tuning to Astro Awani and hope to see you soon.